Haven't news stories come out saying that there are U.S. soldiers still stuck in Afghanistan? There are troops. Are you denying that there are not troops
No,
in
I'm
Afghanistan?
asking you, like, send me the story, because as far as I know, the troops are out. There are Americans still in Afghanistan.
Yes, there are
Send me the
American
article.
troops still in Afghanistan.
Send me the article.
Give me a second. This is from the New York Times.
What the? U.S. troops are still deployed to Iraq. It says to Iraq right there.
Okay, I apologize. Give me a second here.
You know, Iraq, Afghanistan, you know, it's all the area.
Here we go. CNBC.
Stands
It
for
says
US
at
complete.
least 85 U.S. citizens and 79 permanent residents have left
fucking
Afghanistan since the
snake.
U.S.
I said there are Americans still in Afghanistan. There is no American troops. There are 0 American troops in Afghanistan. I specifically told you that there were still Americans in Afghanistan.
Do you believe that Joe Biden is going to be elected for a second term?
Possibly. I don't know. It's too far out to say.
Can we do a little experiment here? What I'm asking you to do is to search Joe Biden on YouTube and look at the first 3 videos and look at the like to dislike ratio. And then tell me if you believe that Joe Biden is going to be elected for a second term.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Awesome possum.
Wonderful. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. How about yourself, Dylan?
I'm doing A-okay. Just got to go on the David Pakman show, so that's off my bucket list.
I seen it. You did very well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, the last time I talked to you,
Yes.
can I ask you a question?
Sure, absolutely. You can always ask me any question.
Were you at all intoxicated in any manner?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sure you can quote back to the Discord conversations that we've had in which I said that I was like, what, 5 or 6 Jack and Cokes deep?
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Just to make so anybody who might have gotten maybe a slightly negative impression know that, hey, that's not normal you, right?
Hey man, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And let's state the facts. Even if I was intoxicated, technically that was me. That was just my intoxicated self.
Yes, that was just your Budweiser version.
Well, my Jack and Coke version.
Oh, your Jack and Coke version, yes. So at the time you were messaging me in chat and I was talking about something. I don't think it was related to what you were doing. I was talking about something. We were getting ready for Hippy Dippy. And you were talking about in chat how, you know, both parties suck, they don't help the American people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you wanted to talk to me about that, about how both parties suck, and that was the analysis you were trying to lay at my feet. And so yeah, do you want to talk to me about that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So so what's your thesis about why both parties suck and are bad?
First of all, I think that we should go through introductions, considering the fact that I don't know much about you, you don't know much about me.
Okay.
My name, you can call me Sinner or you can call me Samael, whichever you feel is easier to pronounce. I'm 26. I'm a drywall finisher. I've never been to college.
Okay. Oh, okay. My name is Dylan Burns. I'm a Twitch streamer, a Pepe poster, and apparently rabble rouser at Trump events.
Rabble rouser. I love it.
To some extent. So, what exactly were you trying to get across to me in the chat?
The thing that I was trying to get across to you is that, be it Republican or Democrat, politicians in general, not all politicians, but a majority of politicians do not care about the general public.
Okay. So, my thing is about the analysis you were kind of laying down about, oh, both parties are bad and the politicians don't care and stuff like that. I feel that it's a very simplistic analysis, right? The idea that like if I stand up and I say like both parties bad and the politicians don't care, I mean that it feels like the type of thing that somebody would say like anytime like a politician gets into a scandal before they like, you know, like go back to like talking to the wife at the dinner table. But it doesn't really like analyze exactly like what's the problems with the Democratic Party, what's the problems with the Republican Party, and what's the differences between them. Because when you say both parties don't care and the politicians generally don't care, it doesn't show, I think, that I do think there are actual politicians who do care. I do think they exist. The exact percentage I do not know. And I also think that there is distinct differences between the Democrats and the Republicans that make supporting one of those parties and getting involved in one of those parties beneficial generally for like the nation, the country generally.
First of all, I'm just going to go ahead and admit with you in saying that, yes, I did make a very simplistic statement in the fact that politicians in general do not care about you. But I will state that here's the thing, man. Simplistic is easy to understand. We're talking to the general public here. We aren't trying to get fancy about things. The simpler the message, the better the message.
Yeah, but what message is put across by saying politicians don't care about you, both parties suck?
Like I said, generally speaking, a majority of politicians do not actually care about the general public. And like you said earlier, you somewhat agree with me in that statement.
Well,
I mean,
I think there's politicians who don't care, and I think there's politicians that do care.
right, and that's exactly what I said when
Well,
I
no,
said a majority of politicians do not care about you.
Well,
I never said that all politicians didn't care about the general public.
Well, okay. The first thing I would say is we have no way of finding out which politicians truly do or truly don't care, right? When we talk about like finding intentions, all we can do is guess. But the reason what
we can go on past statements, lies made, we can go off statistics, we can go off of bills that were passed.
What statistic can you show me showing that most politicians don't care?
The biggest politician or the biggest statistic that I can give you is the fact that a majority of Senate members are over the age of, give me a second here. They are over the age of 64 years old. Now, let me ask you a simple question, Dylan. Do you believe that a 64-year-old has lived the same experiences that you have in your past?
No.
Do you believe that a 64-year-old person has the same values and ideals that you do?
Possibly.
Do you care to elaborate?
I mean, Bernie Sanders is actually like closer to like a lot of my beliefs than a lot of people in the world. A lot of them I it depends on the person. Like I know old people that I agree with on a lot of stuff, and I know old people I disagree with a lot of stuff. I mean, there's old people that like, for example, like aren't like connected to me, and like I'm not gonna be able to sit down with Bernie and play the Nintendo Switch, right? But I can sit down with Bernie and like talk about healthcare issues, and we'll be pretty aligned. Or maybe Elizabeth Warren, or
right. But the difference in this
Warnock.
situation is, and listen, I'll praise Bernie just like you praise Bernie. I love Bernie. But the thing is me and you and Bernie are not making the decisions that are being passed as bills, unfortunately.
Okay, so I don't understand how people being old mean they don't care. I know my grandfather, I think, cares a lot about people. I know a lot of old people that care about people. The reason why the majority of the people in the Senate are old is because most people don't get to the Senate by just running for office.
Okay,
right?
let's break down that statement that you just said.
I didn't even finish my statement.
Well, no, I just want to go into this before we, cover many other topics.
Okay.
Let's talk about your grandpa since you chose to bring him up. Tell us about your grandpa.
Okay, well, he was a Vietnam vet who fought in the war. He then worked for the Bureau of Engraving and Printing for years. He used to work in the steel factory and a newspaper guy once. When he was young, he worked on a farm. He used to be in Ohio, now he's in Maryland.
So we can make the general assumption that your grandfather was a hardworking American that fought in the Vietnam War. Is that correct?
Okay, yeah.
Now let me ask you this question. Do you believe that your grandfather has the same general views that the average population has? Keep in mind.
No.
Okay, well, thank you.
What did that prove?
That proved that people at a certain age have different views than the general public.
Well, no, it's not because of his age.
Why is it not about his age?
I think he just has like different views about certain things due to like his, a lot of times it could be his experiences or his just personal
Experiences.
opinions or
Break that down for me, Dylan. What are experiences?
things you experience.
Things you experience over time. Over time.
Yes.
Yes. So obviously, he has built up different experiences over time, different from the general public, because
Uh-huh.
he grew up in a different era. There is an age gap, there is a generational gap between the general public and your grandfather. Do you agree with that?
There is a generational gap, yes.
So how can you sit there and say that my argument is invalid? That old people necessarily do not care about the general views of
Wait,
the popular majority of people
wait.
that live in
Okay.
the nation.
So now your position has changed. So it's no
How?
longer, wait. The first your position was that these politicians don't care about people. Now it's that they don't care about their opinions, which is totally different. Like my grandfather cares about me, but he doesn't.
Okay, let me
Wait,
ask you this
wait, wait.
question, Dylan.
No, you're
If
not.
you
You
don't
gotta
care,
let me
if
talk.
you
You
don't
gotta
care
let me
about
talk.
someone's
I'm
opinion,
not listening to you right now. You gotta let me talk.
I
I
won't
just.
interrupt. Go ahead.
I let you do your question time. Okay, David Letterman style. So there's a difference between not caring what people think and not caring about people, right?
Are you
Because
sure?
yes, I'm sure. And the reason why is I know my grandfather doesn't really care much about what I believe about, say, I don't know, golf or boxing. We have disagreements on boxing. He thinks that I have completely incorrect opinions on boxing. But he still, if I was shot, he would still help me because he cares about me,
Well,
right?
yes, he
And
cares about you because
yes.
you're
And
his
so a
grandson.
politician can disagree with what a person in the general public believes and still care about them or their constituents. For example, I know the mayor of my city personally. I've worked with him on many occasions, and he disagrees with a lot of people in the North College Park Citizens Association when it comes to certain zoning issues, development issues, and issues when it comes to the university, the local university. But that does not mean he doesn't care about those people. He just views issues differently. And also, all of this doesn't establish the fact that the politicians elected into office necessarily disagree with what a lot of the general public believe. And it also doesn't establish that they would not be responsive to a lot of times what the general public believe just because they're old. All you've established is that they're old.
No, I've established that older people have different points of views than younger people.
Sometimes, yeah, I would say generally they have different views on different things, but what does that mean? They also have more experiences that I think make them a lot of times more fit for certain offices. Because if you're older, that means you have more job experience in a certain industry. And that's why generally the Senate is full of older people, is because it takes a lot of times to get to, besides literally the federal office, what is the most powerful office in the country? It's the Senate. There's only 100 of them.
Okay, so are you saying that older people are more fit to run the Senate or the House than younger people?
Sometimes I would say if you have a lot more experience in a job, that a lot of times can make you better for a position. If you know how to get things done, wheeling and dealing in the Senate and in politics, it can assist you in getting legislation through. That's why in the first 2 years of most Congress people's like life in the office, they don't really do much. They're mostly learning the ropes.
Okay, that's fair. That's completely fucking fair. Oh, I apologize. I didn't mean to curse. Sorry.
It's fine.
But I just want to state that, like you said earlier, older people tend to have different points of views. So, considering the fact that just 34% of the US population is over the age of 50, just 34% are over the age of 50. And yet, the average age of a Senate member is 64 years old. I feel like we need some new blood in the Senate. I feel like we need some new blood in the House.
That is a totally separate question, though, about whether they care about us.
How is it though? Because if
Because
you
wait,
can't,
I also agree that there should be more young people involved in politics, but that
good
doesn't
deal.
necessarily assert the fact that old people don't care about people. Like this doesn't assert anything other than you believe representation matters.
But you also admitted that sometimes older people can have different opinions than younger people. And not only that, but they have forged their ideals in quote experience over time or years of experience. They have built these ideals and they believe that they are more correct than other people. Just because they are older, is that fair? Just because they have lived a longer life, does that mean that they are smarter than a younger individual?
It doesn't mean they're smarter than a younger individual. It depends on the issue. For example, I would say older people in politics probably know how to get things done better than a lot of other people when it comes to moving legislation through
Why is
office.
that?
But because they
Why?
have
Why?
experience,
Because they have experience in what?
politics.
Politics doesn't necessarily get the job done. Let's
What?
say that we're trying to fix roads on a highway in a certain state. Does politics come into play there?
Yes.
Or I don't necessarily believe so because I've
If
had
Huey Long
construction
was not
jobs
elected,
myself.
if Huey Long did not have the knowledge of how to pull levers in Louisiana politics and pressure people into getting his
I'm sorry,
legislation,
who?
Huey Long, the former governor of Louisiana, if
The
he did,
former governor the former governor of Louisiana. Is
yes,
he a Senate member? Is he a House member?
no, he was the governor and then a Senate member.
Is he passing bills currently, and is he a
No,
Senate
he
member
was shot in
currently?
1935, but this doesn't.
Okay,
Wait,
1935.
no, dude, you don't even know how I'm using the example yet. This example could easily apply in modern times as well. Okay.
And yet it doesn't. He
You
died
didn't
in
you didn't let me you
1935.
didn't let me say the example. Wait, do I so I have to give you a modern example of a senator being part of a thing to fix roads. I have to give you an
Okay,
example of that. The entire Democratic Party in the Senate right now with the infrastructure bill,
right. The infrastructure bill that has yet to be passed,
which will be passed,
that still hasn't been
but it's
passed.
going to be passed. We don't know what version of it's going to get passed, but it's going to get passed, and the politics of getting it passed is going to be important when it comes to fixing roads and getting the funding out there to fix roads and infrastructure across the nation.
I'm going to circle back to the infrastructure bill, but go ahead and finish your statement.
And back to Huey Long, my example, you can say he's dead so it doesn't matter, but this is a good example. If he did not know how to pull levers in Louisiana politics, the ability for him to build all those new roads and bridges that he was famous for would not have gotten done. Now, it wasn't just that got it done, but it was a vital factor. And so I don't think it's the only thing that people need is just to be old and have experience. I think there's a lot of other things that come into politics, but having that experience from being in the Senate for a while and being a veteran of the House or of politics is very useful for not only you personally getting your priorities through and you assisting your own party, but also getting new members of the House and Senate acquainted with how the system works and how to use it to your advantage.
Okay, I can understand that. And I applaud Huey for getting things done in his state. Absolutely. Now let's circle back to the infrastructure bill. Are
Okay?
you familiar with a individual named Joe Manchin?
Yes. Yes.
What are your opinions on Joe Manchin?
Not my guy, but he's a necessary piece of the puzzle.
Why is he necessary?
He's necessary for at least 2 years until we expand the Senate because we can't get anything done without him or Kirsten Sinema because we need 50 votes.
Let me ask you this question. Does Joe Manchin support said infrastructure bill that quote unquote will be passed?
Not in its current form, no.
So how can you currently say that this bill is going to be passed?
Because it's going to be passed in one form or another. It just might not be this form.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are you a fortune teller?
On my weekends?
I dig it. I dig it.
But no, I'm not a fortune teller.
So my question is, how can you sit there and say that it's going to be passed?
Because I have enough knowledge of the players involved and of how the bill has gotten to where it is now and of the priorities of everyone involved to know that when they look at this bill and how they're dealing with this bill, that this bill is going to get through. The question is on how big or how impactful the bill is going to be. Are we going to get the 3.5 trillion, or are we going to get something closer to 3 to 2.5 to even 2 trillion dollars? The question is going to be on how far we can move, say, Mr. Manchin or any of these other people, either through making him offers or deals. But the reason why it's going to get passed is that the player involved, Joe Manchin, has an interest in getting it passed and getting it through, just a different version of the bill. So all 50 Democrats have an interest in getting this bill through. They just all want a different version of the bill. So it's a question of just where the dart's going to land, not a question of if it's going to get through.
Okay, so I'm sure that you are aware that the original infrastructure bill was passed by the House, sent to the Senate, and then approved by the Senate, and now it's got to be sent back to the House to be approved again.
Yes.
Are you aware of the fact that a little stipulation was added into the infrastructure bill that gave $1 billion to Joe Manchin's wife's institution that she works at?
Okay.
Are you aware of that?
What about it?
I'm just asking, are you aware of that?
Not that specific detail, no.
Okay. Do you wish to move on to another talking point, or do you want to discuss this further?
Wait, what? Wait, what did that prove?
That Joe Manchin passed a bill after the fact that his wife received $1 billion.
Okay. Also, can you send me a source on that? But what about it?
I can send you a source.
Okay, but like what does this prove about the conversation we're having?
What does this prove about Joe Manchin's wife receiving $1 billion,
Yeah,
even though he
what does
originally
that
said that
fact
he was
prove?
not going to vote yes on said bill, and now he is voting yes on said bill after his wife has received $1 billion?
I still don't understand like the point you're trying to make here.
The point that I'm trying to make here is that politicians are corrupt, and the only way that they will pass a bill is if it benefits them directly.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What's your race?
I am white.
Okay.
Well, technically speaking, I did 23andMe, I would say about 4 months ago, and I found out
you're
that
Cherokee.
I'm 6% Italian.
Okay, got it. So, are you familiar with the Jeffrey Dahmer case?
Oh, it's funny that you bring that up, actually, because Jeffrey Dahmer actually died on the exact same day that I was born. It's very
That explains a lot.
That's very serendipitous.
So, white people slaughter and eat people.
Are you saying that only white people slaughter and eat people?
No, I'm just saying white people do that.
Okay. You made a statement.
Now, do you see how useless that statement is, though?
It's still a statement.
Well, yeah, but it's useless. We gain nothing from the statement.
Except
and so
it's not.
by you giving an example, wait.
Except it's not. Because I was talking about Joe Manchin, a senator, and you are talking about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah,
a murderer.
A white person.
Oh, he's just a white person? He's not a murderer?
Well, he's both a murderer and a white person, correct?
Correct.
And Joe Manchin is both a politician and corrupt. But you just stating politicians are corrupt is
did you just say that Joe Manchin is corrupt?
I'm following your logic here, but I would assume so, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
but that doesn't prove
say.
But does that prove all politicians are corrupt?
No, and I never stated that.
Okay. Does it prove that a majority of politicians don't care about the people or anything like that?
Does it prove one statement about one person that a majority of politicians are corrupt? No. And that's why I'm having this debate with you, to point out their flaws. So we can talk about all of these politicians.
Okay. And he's one politician.
Exactly. One politician that I chose to bring up.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question, Dylan. Did you get a chance to take a look at the videos that I sent you in the
No, I did
Discord?
not. I did not.
Why is that?
Because I'm a very busy person.
You're a very busy person, and yet I sent you those videos 2 hours before your stream. Not only that, but I asked you about sending said sources the night earlier. Literally, I would say about 30 minutes after our or after you last addressed me. Can I ask you a question? Can you take a look at them now?
I can I ask you a question? So I work full time, go to school full time, and work in local politics. I do not have the time to look at everything that's sent to me, and I would I just it was not a signal of disrespect in any way. It was merely just the fact that I didn't have the time to just watch YouTube videos. I was studying for
Can I
a
ask you a
quiz.
question, Dylan?
Yeah.
When were you aware of the fact that we were going to have a debate?
I think some point last week.
The 17th.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. If other people that you were going to debate with sent you sources or videos, would you not take a look at them?
Sometimes it depends on the person.
Exactly. It depends on the person.
And it depends on like my work schedule.
Like I said, can you take a look right now?
Sure. Which one do you want me to look at?
Let's take a look at the first video.
Okay. Okay, this is you want me to look at the timestamped version of this or
Well, yeah. If you you can play the whole thing if you want. It's up to you.
yeah, let's do the timestamped version of
Yes, we think it is
You want me to share screens or just play it?
You're good.
less.
Like 7?
Who said what? He's saying 5. Somebody's 5 or 6. I would go with the maybe lower than 5.
Wow. Okay, we'll go with 4.
Yeah, go with 4. Yeah.
So this first video is me addressing the fact that Bill Gates, no, I'm asking you to go back to 00 and play to a certain point.
Wait, but you sent me a timestamp.
Exactly. I sent you a timestamp of 00 to the timestamp
No,
that you currently clicked on.
the link you sent me was to this timestamp. Okay, we'll go to 00 and play from the beginning then.
All right, we're gonna
If you
test your
look
knowledge of some
in the
everyday
Discord
items
message that I
get-
sent you,
Oh my
it
God.
says
Yeah.
000 to 335.
Okay, but you also if you click the YouTube video, it will send you to a certain part of the video. You also timestamp the video itself.
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay. I will now play the video.
at the supermarket. When's the last time that you have been at a supermarket?
So this video is
Long time ago.
illustrating
Okay.
how the super rich
All right.
are unaware
This will be interesting. All right.
of
If you
issues
can
that
guess 3
everyday
out of the
average
5,
Americans are going
products
through.
within $1 of each one.
I've seen this before.
Right.
So he's basically like, "Oh, is the
Okay,
is the
let's-
mac and cheese like $1,000?" He's like, "No, it's 2." And then everybody goes, "Ah, oh my God, he's rich." Right?
It's kind of close, but I mean, not technically close, but
Okay, so what's different?
$1,000 compared to, you know, less than $20.
I was being a little hyperbolic, but yes,
Right.
the principle is the
said.
same.
Like I said,
Okay, so what is so the rich don't understand the needs of everyday people is what you're trying to
Right.
assert with this.
right.
Okay. So number 1, can I just say that this doesn't prove shit?
Okay.
To be nice.
Okay.
It's
so
one
let me,
well no. The thing is, I agree with the general premise that the rich don't understand the needs of everyday people generally, right?
okay. Right.
But you don't prove that by just Bill Gates going on the Ellen show. You would have to prove that with like statistics or like data or like a study.
How can you prove that with statistics or data?
Well, that's the standard you
And
gave
yet,
me
and yet
earlier in this conversation. I'm just holding you to your own standard.
and yet that's a general idea that the rich do not relate to the middle class or the lower class. You even actually admitted that you believe the same way.
Yes, but this isn't proof of anything. This is just Bill Gates on Ellen.
Okay, so let's go based off of people's general ideals or knowledge that the rich do not relate. So you don't have to play this video.
Okay.
My thing is I'm sure most people are aware of the fact that politicians are referred to as public servants, just like firefighters, police officers, and teachers. And yet, politicians make massive amounts of money, unlike other public servants. For example,
That's not necessarily the case.
yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
U.S.
You
firefighter
don't.
average salary is $48,000. A U.S. teacher's average salary is $58,000, and yet a senator and House representative average salary is $174,000.
Wow.
That's nearly 3 times the
That's
amount
crazy,
that a
man.
teacher makes.
But you want to know something? The House and Senate hold a very small percentage of the nation's politicians. If you included state delegates or House members, depending on which state you're living in, state senators, county council members, elected city council members, people, mayors, governors, comptrollers, lieutenant generals, if you include all those people, right? If you wait, you didn't even let me finish.
Do those mayors?
God damn it, man! Let me finish. Let me finish. Please. I don't.
Do those city council members and mayors pass laws?
Dude,
do they pass laws?
Listen to me, please. Jesus Christ. Those people overwhelmingly, right? While the problem has always been that those people overwhelmingly do not make the same amount of money as those elected at the top, and you're going to see more class overlap when you go into local offices. And I do agree that it is much easier for the rich to get involved in politics.
I'm glad you agree.
Most certainly, my biggest issue is that we need to pay politicians more.
Let's pay them more than $174,000.
Okay. Do you think all politicians make $174,000?
No, that's why I said
so let me finish my sentence before you cut me off.
Make $174,000.
You gotta let me finish before you cut me off with a statement. You don't even let me finish, and you do something to counter it. But it didn't.
Fact.
Okay. I have blue eyes. That's a fact, but it was a fact that was unimportant for what I was about to say. The reason why it's easier for the rich to get involved in politics is because on the local level, when you look at state delegates, state senators, county council members, mayors, the pay for these positions, the pay to be a city on my city, like if you were you were a selected city council member, like that's an important position in my city. You pay $2,000 a year. You can't live off that. You just can't. It's physically impossible. The mayor, $3,000. And so, due to the fact that these positions, you actually get quite low pay, and the same is true for state delegates and state senators, that means, number one, that the people who hold those positions work them less than we would like them to because they're too busy working their 9-to-5 jobs while doing it, or it's rich people who have the time because they don't have to work like everybody else in a lot of cases, or they're retirees and they get involved. So my thing is, we need to pay it more so working class people can dedicate themselves to politics, because if they get elected, they should be getting a living wage.
Let me ask you this question. Do you believe that U.S. representatives and Senate members need to be paid more, or do you believe people at a state level, state representatives need to be paid more?
State level, on the national level, I don't think they do. I don't know the above average pay for them. I'll just assume that's very high from your statements, but I would say their staffers most certainly need to be paid more. Oh my God.
I agree. The people that are working for them, the people that are fact checking everything that they say, the people that are writing the speeches for them, that are going up on the teleprompters, I agree that they deserve to be paid more.
Yes, but the problem is every time there's like legislation.
Can I ask you a question?
You didn't
Why
even,
why
wait, you
aren't
didn't
they
even let
being
me
paid
finish.
more? Why aren't they being
Jesus,
paid more?
please, can you? Do you realize like how snobby you're coming off right now? And
I
how
apologize.
okay. So a big issue when it comes to staffers and their pay when it comes to the House Senate, and I've heard this from the staffers directly, is that when people hear like, hey, we want to pay the staffers more, and you actually have to pass legislation to do that. You actually have to you need to
Right.
get through that. People will just hear, oh, we're going to pay those DC elites more. Nah, I'm good. And it's politically not beneficial to politicians to get that through. And so
And yet, can I just say that Senate members and House members constantly pass bills to give tax credits to the ultra rich, like Amazon or Google. They don't feel bad about passing those laws.
you don't want to have a conversation, do you?
I do want to have a
No,
conversation.
you want a grandstand. That's what you're doing. Every time I try to say anything, you cut me off, and you turn it into whatever you're trying to say, and you're not listening to me. You're grandstanding.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I agree that many politicians have their priorities mixed up, and money in politics is a massive issue. But when we say the statement like politicians don't care about us, or the majority of them don't, we're casting a massive net over tons of people, the majority of them who are on the local and state levels, who are trying to get involved and do things for the better. And a lot of times when you talk about this, I think the simplicity of the statement you opened with and how we're trying to go about this, where you're sending me videos of Bill Gates like choosing like different like grocery items at the store, is not addressing any of that. It's not going to address the complexity of the different types of politicians there are, or the different types of corruption when you're talking about corruption, or the different types of lobbying, or how much they get paid. For example, it seems that you're working just on this idea of the national level. Like every single example you've given is senator, congressperson, right? But they don't even make up the majority of politicians. They're a small percentage.
And yet they're the ones passing the bills.
No.
Yes.
So you're telling me there's no bills passed in the Maryland General Assembly? Because I watched that happen with my own eyes, unless I was daydreaming.
Not bills that impact the nation as a whole.
Well, yes, but it impacted my life and our state. Like, for example, I saw the $15 minimum wage get passed in person at my state level. I watched that happen.
But
I talked with Corey McRae about it before he did it, state senator.
Here's my thing, though. Who cares? And I'm just saying this, I'm just stating this generally as an average person in the United States in general. I care. Just keep that in mind. I care about your state. I care about you, Dylan. And I hope that you have no ill will towards me. I'm just debating. Okay. But my thing is who cares about the bills being passed in your state if they do not affect people in another state? Who cares about those bills if those bills aren't being passed in California?
The people in the state.
Exactly.
And so but the majority of politicians let's say we just included the politicians in state government and national, because those are the two politicians that are going to affect your life, right? State politicians in Texas have no impact on me, right? Like the Greg Abbott will never impact my life, right? At least most likely. That still means the majority of politicians I interact with are still state level, and that's true for every American.
And yet, bills that are passed in the Senate and the House still affect you. And that's what I'm trying to state.
Yes, but what I'm trying to get at here is that this idea of what the broad brush we're painting seems to only apply on the national level, even though that's not the majority of politicians we're even interacting with, right? and or even exist, even if we were just keeping it state level or nationally, either way. Because nationally, if we included all the state politicians, my God, they outnumber them like probably 1,000,000 to 1. It's not even close, or maybe not 1,000,000, but probably like at least 10 to 1, right? So what I'm trying to get at right now is the statement like both parties bad, or all politicians don't care about you. This is a statement that's almost like pointless to make if it doesn't come with something. Like what is it supposed to come with? What is your statement's call to action? Because when I hear that and it's not followed up with a critique or a call to action, it's a statement that produces political, what's the word, hopelessness, and like people just want to disengage. Then if all the politicians are corrupt and both parties suck, then fuck politics. You know?
That's one point of view. Some people can hear my statements and feel hopeless, and some people, it can light a fire underneath them and make them want to change their nation.
Dude, I don't know if Ellen's gonna light a fire under anybody's feet.
Okay, let's move on then. Let me ask you this. What are your general views on Joe Biden?
I don't know. A lot of positive, a lot of negative. I would say like I have a negative opinion of how he handled the drug war. I have a positive opinion of his withdrawal from Afghanistan. I have a positive opinion of the child tax credit. I have a negative opinion of his drug policy even today, even if it's not the Republican drug policy, it could go a lot further. I have a positive opinion on his stance, his push to have like larger budgets and larger infrastructure bills in comparison to past administrations. So yeah, I mean, mixed bag would be an understatement.
So my thing is you brought up the war on Afghanistan and how Joe Biden withdrew troops from Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Can you take a look at the third clip that I sent you?
Okay. Okay, do you mean like clip 1, 2, there's clip 5 and clip 6, just the third one?
It's labeled as clips 2, 3, and 4.
Wait.
You can start at 250 and let it play all the way through until 333.
Which one is okay? Which one are you? Okay, you said 2, 3, and 4. That's 3 separate clips. Which clip are we clicking?
And yet it's not. Like I said originally,
Okay,
it's the third clip. It says clips 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
It's the same video, but 3 different clips.
Okay, this is from The Intercept, Mehdi Hassan. Yeah. Okay.
Joe Biden makes so much stuff up, and will it hurt him against Trump in the general election? There's much talk online, especially among Bernie Sanders supporters, about whether Joe Biden is in cognitive decline, whether he has dementia, why he's so incoherent. Now, I'm no doctor, I'm not going to make a medical diagnosis, apart from to say that in terms of his speech and his memory, there's clearly undeniably been a lot of decline in recent years.
My name's Joe Biden, I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
But today, forget the weird stuff that Biden says that doesn't make
I don't care about the cognitive decline stuff, that's all speculation, but we'll just move past that.
Sense.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women.
Like I said, you can start at 250 and let it play through 333.
Okay.
That's why those timestamps are there in the message that I sent you.
Way we're going to get rid of Saddam Hussein.
But you can let the whole thing play if you want. That's up to you. It's your channel.
Uniform to be back on foot in the desert, taking taking Saddam down.
He also says now that he opposed the Iraq War as soon as it started.
From the moment shock and awe started, from that moment, I was opposed to the effort and I was outspoken.
A complete fabrication. Here he is several months after the invasion began, praising both the war and George Bush.
Some of my own party have said that it was a mistake to go to Iraq in the first place. But the cost of not acting against Saddam, I think, would have been much greater. The President of the United States is a bold leader and he is popular.
Again, Biden just makes stuff up. He makes demonstrably false claims without an iota of shame. Number 4, there's Biden's role in the civil rights movement, which is pretty easy to summarize.
And I also want you to
have
keep
one.
in mind that
When
I
I marched in
hold
the civil
no
rights movement,
affiliation with
I
any
marched-
political party in general.
Yeah, I assume so.
Tens of thousands
I don't
of voters to
support
change
Democrats.
attitudes.
I don't support Republicans.
Yeah, again, I assume so.
We changed attitude.
When I was about the age of the guy standing over there, I got involved in the civil rights movement.
He knows it's untrue. Don't take my word for it. Take his.
I was not an activist. I was not out marching. I was not down in Selma. I was not anywhere else.
Imagine as a white guy lying about your role in the civil rights struggle. Finally, you all know that Biden had to quit his 1988 campaign after he was caught plagiarizing parts of his stump speech. But Biden also lied about his grades.
I think I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect. The first year in law school, I decided I didn't want to be in law school and ended up in the bottom 2/3.
Are we watching the whole video,
and then
or
decided I wanted to.
Okay, so I'm actually so foreign policy, which I assumed your big thing was the war in Iraq one, right?
my biggest thing is Joe Biden flip-flopping on his stance on whether or not troops should invade Iraq and Afghanistan.
Okay, so I actually know a lot about this journalist. Mehdi Hassan is actually my favorite journalist. And I'm gonna bring up an article on stream right now from the journalist you just cited. Joe Biden ended the war in Afghanistan after 20 years. It's a big fucking deal. Ending America's longest war, despite pressure to keep it going, deserves our credit and respect. Okay, I'll say it again. I was wrong about Joe Biden. During the 2020 presidential primaries, I was aghast at the prospect of an Iraq war supporter winning the Democratic nomination. I reminded readers that Biden was the only Democratic candidate to have voted for the Iraq war and had falsely claimed the United States had no choice but to eliminate the threat from Saddam Hussein. I said his hawkish foreign policy record should be disqualifying. I never expected Biden to be anything other than a belligerent once he was seated inside the White House. Yet, as of Tuesday evening, Biden has done something that 3 previous presidents either wouldn't or couldn't, ended the longest war in American history. The last U.S. troops left Afghanistan on schedule ahead of the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. This is the reporter you just cited.
Right. And then can I ask you a question now?
Yeah, sure.
So obviously you've seen Joe Biden giving praise to George W. Bush. Did you not?
I did.
My question to you is, did you watch the first clip where he said the only way to deal with Saddam Hussein is to have troops like you in the desert with their boots on?
Okay.
Do you personally believe that that is the only way to deal with Saddam Hussein, is to send troops to another country and force them to live under tyranny from another government?
No, but that's some strange framing. To be clear, Saddam Hussein was a rat bastard, and I'm happy he hung. But no, I don't think it's the only reason. No.
And yet Joe Biden said the only way that we can deal with Saddam Hussein is to have boots on the ground. Did he
Yes.
not say
But
that?
Can you just quickly say that Saddam Hussein was a tyrannical bastard as well, like foreign tyrannical government? Like, want to make clear that you acknowledge that.
Can I say that? Yes, I can say that.
Okay. So I disagree with Joe Biden's stance on the Iraq war. I think we shouldn't have invaded Iraq. I oppose
And
the
yet Joe Biden said that we should have invaded
Yes.
Iraq. And if anything, he gave praise to George W. Bush for
yes,
invading
because
Iraq.
he agreed with George Bush on invading Iraq. Yes.
And yet you say that you don't agree with that.
Don't agree with what?
You don't
Invaded-
agree
yes,
with
I don't
George
agree-
W.
I don't-
Bush.
yes,
You don't
yes.
agree with Joe Biden giving praise to George W. Bush for saying that it was a good thing to invade Iraq.
Okay, and
And you're standing here defending Joe Biden.
wait. I believe I can vote for a politician or support a politician who has done things that I vehemently disagree with if they agree with me on more stuff than the other guy, or there's other reasons for me to support them. For example, I agree with Biden's stance on Libya. I agree with Biden's stance generally on Syria. I agree with Biden's stance generally on Afghanistan.
Okay.
When it comes
let
to,
me-
wait,
let
let me finish. When it comes to,
Sure.
because Biden was against intervention in Libya, but had to keep that opinion private. He talked about this at the Council of Foreign Relations. Biden was for pulling out of Afghanistan ever since 2011 from internal the conversations he's had. And Biden has been pretty reserved comparatively to Obama when it comes to Syria, even if I disagree with certain strikes he's done. I agree when it comes to Operation Inherent Resolve, even if I don't agree with all the details and everything he's done, right?
Okay.
But I can disagree. I completely disagree with the decision to invade Iraq.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question, Dylan.
Okay.
If someone lies directly to your face and you catch them in a lie,
Uh-huh.
do you trust them?
Do I trust them? My trust for them at least diminishes.
Okay. What if someone lies twice to your face?
Well, again, each lie diminishes trust.
Okay. Can we take a look at the second clip that I sent you?
Okay, so if it's just going to be examples of Biden lying, I know that Biden's lied.
Okay. If Biden has lied on several occasions, why do you trust him?
What do you mean, do I trust him? It depends on the issue if I trust him or not.
Why?
Because
Once a
there's
liar,
certain
always a liar, right?
Well, wait. People can be good on some things and terrible on other things, right?
Why?
For example, let's say that I am an amazing firefighter, right? The best
Okay.
in the entire state, right? But I lie constantly, a shit ton, about how big a fish I caught in the ocean was. And I do it a ton. I'm like, this fish was fucking massive, man. And I just do it all the time. I would still be the best person to rescue out of a burning building.
Okay.
Just like Joe Biden, comparative to everybody else that was the other option, was the best person to get us out of Afghanistan, and he got us out of the country.
And yet, lying about a fish is a completely different subject. We're talking about Joe Biden lying on his stance of the war in Afghanistan, in Iraq.
But the thing is,
That's
I
the
don't need
same
to.
subject.
I don't need to. The thing is, I don't need to care much about whether this truthfulness, him being a liar, is going to impact him getting out of Afghanistan, or if he has lied, is going to get him out of Afghanistan. Because I knew his position on Afghanistan. We could know it since really the information came out about his private conversation in 2011, right? He got us out of the country. So obviously, I was in the right to trust him to get us out of Afghanistan.
Okay. Now, let's move on. Let's move on to.
Wait, can you just say I was correct to trust him to get us out of Afghanistan?
Why would I say that?
Because I was.
You were what?
I was right to trust Joe Biden and give him my vote if my priority was to get us out of Afghanistan.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Haven't news stories come out past the deadline, Joe Biden's deadline, to get all U.S. soldiers out of Afghanistan? Haven't news stories come out saying that there are U.S. soldiers still stuck in Afghanistan? And I love how you throw that term in there, us. You throw that term in there, us. Is it you? Are you in Afghanistan?
No, I am not personally in Afghanistan. When I said us, I meant the collective nation of the United States.
Okay, now let me ask you this question. Have news stories come out prior or after Joe Biden's deadline saying that there are U.S. soldiers still in Afghanistan?
I mean, possibly. But the last U.S. troops are out of the country, as far as I'm known. Which troops are still there?
There are troops. Are you denying that there are not troops?
No, I'm asking you. Send me the story, because as far as I know, the troops are out. There are Americans still in Afghanistan,
but there are no troops.
I'm asking you. Are there?
Yes, there are.
Send me
American
the article.
Troops still in Afghanistan.
Send me the article.
Give me a second. All right, I'm sending this to your Discord.
Okay.
This is from the New York Times.
What the? U.S. troops are still deployed to Iraq. It says to Iraq right there.
Okay, I apologize. Give me a second here. You only gave me like less than a minute to get a source. I'll get you a source. Give me a second.
Okay, I'll let you do it. You know, Iraq, Afghanistan, you know, it's all the area.
I apologize. Here we go. CNBC.
Okay, let's see this one. Did you check if it says Iraq first?
No, it says Afghanistan.
Okay, let's see it. Okay, this says 85 Americans have left Afghanistan.
It says at least 85 U.S. citizens and 79 permanent residents have left Afghanistan since the U.S.
Dude, what did I say specifically before you sent me this? I said there are Americans still in Afghanistan. There is no American troops. There are 0 American troops in Afghanistan. I specifically told you that there were still Americans in Afghanistan. There are going to be Americans in Afghanistan for years because some Americans still don't even want to leave. So yes, there are still Americans in Afghanistan. There are no American troops in Afghanistan. That is just a lie.
I apologize.
Dude, I gotta ask. You sent me the first thing and it's wrong, and then you send me the second one. And did you read this title first?
No, like I said, what if
So
you actually roll back?
So you sent me 2 articles without reading the title.
If you roll back the time asking me for a source, it was like what, 2 minutes ago?
Okay. So do you retract the statement that there are American troops still in Afghanistan?
I retract the statement saying that I have absolute proof saying that there are U.S.
What does that mean? What does that mean? There is no American troops in Afghanistan. Send me any proof of it. I will sit here as long as you need to send me proof of American troops, because there are no American troops in Afghanistan. They're all left. They're gone. They're out of the country.
Will you actually
what do you mean I gotta listen. What do you mean by absolute proof? Do you mean there's some proof? Do you have like a wiki? An image?
Yes,
What does that mean?
I do. Yes, I do.
What do you have?
Some proof. But I will not post said proof because you will not believe the source.
What's the source?
You already know the source.
InfoWars?
No, not InfoWars, but it's Fox News.
Oh, Fox.
And that's why I'm not going to post that source, because to be honest with you, I don't trust everything that comes from Fox News either.
So let's be clear. You've read the first thing you sent me was wrong. The second thing you sent me is wrong. If before you sent me the third thing, please read it.
The second thing that I sent you.
Yes.
It was wrong in me stating that there are U.S. soldiers.
Yes, and I clarified that with you beforehand. I said I know there's Americans, but there's no troops, and then I said I was wrong and that there are troops.
Okay. You were correct.
Okay. You want to move on to the next thing?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's move on to promises that have not been kept by Joe Biden. Is that okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and send you this source directly.
Okay. Did you read this one beforehand?
I did.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So this comes from PolitiFact. These aren't all of the promises, but if you click the link, if you want to share the link to your chat, then it shows all the promises that Joe Biden has yet to keep.
Okay, well, can I first clarify that on the first thing it says that he's broken 0?
He's broken 0.
Yes. It says that, like, the first thing I saw was that he promises 12%, compromises 1%, promises broken 0.
And yet he's been in office for 8 months. 3 major bills have been drafted so far.
It says that 42% of the promises are in the works and that 2% of them are stalled. Like, this is like the first thing I see.
Okay.
And he's been in there for 8 months, which is not even 25% of the presidency. Which,
Okay.
if I make a promise for things I'm gonna do in 4 to 8 years, right? Like
8 years?
4 to 8, yes.
Okay, let me just sidetrack here. Let me do a quick sidetrack. Do you believe that Joe Biden is going to be elected for a second term?
Possibly. I don't know. It's too far out to say.
Can we do a little experiment here?
Do you have like a mini Joe Biden that we're gonna do tests on?
No, of course not. But my question, what I'm asking you to do is to search Joe Biden on YouTube and look at the first 3 videos and look at the like to dislike ratio. And then tell me if you believe that Joe Biden is going to be elected for a second term. Just look at the first 3 videos.
You know what? I'll do that. I'll do that right now.
Just search Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
Okay. First one's UN. Oh, majority dislikes. Second one,
We meet the
majority dislikes, also about UN. Third one,
moment of
same thing, majority dislikes.
Okay.
And who gives a fuck? It's
Are
YouTube.
you not going to answer my question?
Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? It's like the dislikes, okay? Who cares? Bernie Sanders, a lot of his stuff was majority disliked. Yes, Bernie never had a chance. Yes, he was just some dumb little socialist who should have just kept it home and stayed off the campaign trail. Do you agree with me on that? I mean, some of his videos were disliked.
Can you answer my question,
What?
please?
What?
Based off of the general opinion of the American nation, do you believe Joe Biden is going to be elected for a second term?
Possibly.
And I know that the American public has no weight in the vote. It's the Electoral College that chooses the president.
So I'm not gonna go off of like to dislike ratios on YouTube
Why not?
videos. Wait.
Why not?
Can I? Because it's not scientific. It's a YouTube video like the dislike ratio. It's like when
stats.
Rob Noor
Are you
the other
saying that-
day cited me a Facebook poll.
Are not statistics? Are you saying that stats are not scientific?
Dude, are you okay? Can I ask you a question? Are you a troll? Are you a troll? Unironically, like, is this a meme? If this is a meme, you can announce it right now and you
Is
win.
it a meme? Is it a meme? Let me answer honestly. I will answer honestly. I am very happy to be on this channel. I've watched like 3 or 4 of your streams so far. I admire you as a person completely. I admire anyone that debates topics on Twitch. But yes, I am a troll, not necessarily about this subject. And like I said, I'm very happy to be here, and I am so grateful to you for actually giving me the chance to hear me.
Okay. So you do realize it doesn't really matter if you're a troll or not.
Well, I
do-
admitted that I am a troll
But
on certain subjects.
on certain subjects. Okay. You do realize that this like to dislike ratio is a useless statistic. Because
not
because
necessarily.
these things can be botted quite easily. They could be a very determined group on the internet could be disliking all of them the first thing they look up. The more useful statistic to look at besides Facebook polls would be,
Very true.
polling data.
That's very
Polling
true.
data. And if we look up polling data, Biden is suffering his worst polling data he has seen right now. But majority of polls I just saw from the last batch shows he's about 50-50 with the American people. He started off about like 58 something. Now he's about 50-50. He was below 50-50 during the Afghanistan thing. Now he's back to 50-50. So again, a 50-50 polling average from what I'm seeing is not, again, an indication of whether he's going to win in 4 years.
I mean, that's a coin toss. But like I've never actually looked up what you are talking about currently. Can we look it up on your stream right now, if you
mean
don't
like
mind?
polls?
Yeah.
Okay, let's YouGov, like any pollsters you trust.
Like I said, I've never looked it up. I'm actually curious to see what it turns out to be.
Okay. So yeah, it's about 50-50. 46.5 to 48.9. The last batch of polls I saw was about 50-50. This is an average of all polling data.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, that's not technically 50-50.
It is not technically 50-50. You are correct. There is a 1 to 2% difference that is within the margin of error.
Okay, so back to the original topic that we were talking about unkept promises of
Okay.
Biden being in office with a majority in the Democrat in the
Can I
in
say
the
something?
Democratic Party. Sure.
But this might upset you. You've made me support Biden more during this conversation.
That's cool. Like I said, I could care less.
Okay.
I don't support any party. But
I can
like
tell.
I was saying earlier, unkept promises by Biden in his 8 months of being in charge. Not only have the Democrats been in charge in the White House, but they have the majority in the House and in the Senate. Promises not kept. Decriminalizing marijuana.
Okay.
Direct federal resources to help prevent violence against the trans community.
Wait. Let's do. Can we go? Are we going top down or where are we starting? Because I'd like to look at these with you because the PolitiFact has information to go with it.
Like I said,
No, I'm asking
like
you
I
where
said,
are we
I'm only
starting?
using a few sources, so they're kind of all over the board.
Wait.
If you start at the bottom.
We're starting at
If
the
you start at
bottom.
the bottom and work your way up, I'm sure you can find these, and I'm willing to wait with you if you want to look up facts.
Okay. Can we go top to bottom? Wouldn't that be easier?
Well, I mean, yeah, technically, I can start at the bottom of my list and work my way down.
Well, let's go top to bottom on his tracker promises because if we nitpick stuff, then of course it's gonna be bad, right? And trust me, I know he's gonna break some promises.
But I'm not nitpicking. I'm literally listing things that are on this list.
After you got to be on. Okay, to be quite blunt with you, after the last Afghanistan soldier fiasco, I'm gonna be very careful with everything you say forward.
That's fine.
Forward,
That's
okay?
fine.
So let's go
Like I
top.
said.
Let's go top to bottom of the thing you
Okay,
just sent me. Okay,
I'll try and help you out. I'll pull up this on my screen.
So, get COVID-19 under control was his first promise. Biden releases a new plan to COVID-19, but experts say there's still a ways to go.
Okay, listen. There are over 100 promises on this list.
Yeah.
I just want to cover the big ones, okay?
Wait, but the thing is, I don't trust you not to nitpick, so that's why I want to go top to bottom.
Why?
Because you just
some of
lied
the
to
major-
me. You lied
some
to
of the
me.
major
Wait.
issues-
You told me not to trust liars, and you lied to me.
You got me. Fair.
Okay. So, get COVID-19 under control. I would say that he's doing, in my opinion, better than Trump did. He hasn't gotten it completely under control, but it is a pandemic that the world hasn't gotten under control. I think I think the vaccine mandate that he's pushing through now is the next good step. I would say he's doing a pretty decent job generally on COVID.
Can I interject for a quick second?
Sure.
Okay. My thing is I am almost positive that you are not going to read all of these 100 promises that are on this screen. Can you read to your heart's content, and then can I read the ones that I want to read? And if you just so happen to read one of the ones on my list, I'm going to ask to interject.
Okay. The next one is end wars in Afghanistan and the Middle East. He's ended the one in Afghanistan. He hasn't yet ended the one in Iraq yet, but he's ended the one in Afghanistan. He's taken a big step forward on that. Yep. Give disadvantaged communities 40% of responding benefits related to clean energy. Congress holds key on clean energy dollars to poor communities. I know that a lot of this has to do with the infrastructure bill. They rate this as in progress. That
yet to be passed.
They're working on getting
some
passed.
Democrats
that
are
Joe
actually
Biden,
fighting against passing.
Yes, and he's trying to do his best to get them on board to make it pass. Provide Section 8 housing vouchers to low-income families to cap housing costs at 30% of income. Joe Biden has a long way to meet his housing goal. This says it's in progress. Lower costs of prescription drugs. Biden takes a step to lower drug prices, but odds are long for achieving his promise. 60%
long
reduction.
odds.
Yep. Okay. Promises. It says in progress. Allow import of prescription drugs from other countries. Biden's executive order includes a push for drug importation, but exports question feasibility. But he did sign an executive order on the issue. It's in progress. Restore Cuban engagement. Said it's stalled in July.
I applaud that.
But this is probably just him going back to the Obama era policy. Eliminate the federal death penalty. Attorney General Garland orders a moratorium on federal executions. So he has ordered a moratorium, but it's not completely done. He's taken the first step in doing that. Rejoin the Iran nuclear deal. This one seems to be currently stalled. I would say that the liaison that he's picked to Iran definitely is in the right direction, since it is the...
Can you tell me what that entails, Dylan? Because I'm not completely familiar with the subject.
So you think, what is the Iran deal?
The Iran nuclear deal.
Like what it is?
Yeah.
So
if
the
you
Iran,
don't mind, you don't have to.
The Iran nuclear deal is an agreement. It's formerly known as the JCPOA. Is an agreement between the United States and Iran that was supposed to mean that, basically, to simplify, that Iran would not be able to enrich weapons-grade uranium. There would be checks and stuff put in place to stop that. And in trade for that, there would be more economic opportunities provided to Iran by the relief of sanctions.
Can I ask you a question, Dylan?
Sure.
Do you know who holds more nuclear missiles than any other country in the world?
Russia?
I don't know. Let me look it up. I'm pretty sure it's America.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Russia. I'm actually positive. I don't even need to Google it, actually.
Russia and the United States continue to possess
Okay,
the most
and the United... Okay.
nuclear
That's slick.
The
Okay.
former has 6,255 warheads, while the U.S. maintains 5,550
So the answer is Russia.
So the United States is in second place.
Yes. Okay. Yes, we have a lot of nukes, but
Lots of them.
okay. Do we just keep going, or are you just like perplexed by nuclear arms?
Can I read my list, or do you want to keep going?
He resumed ties with the Palestinian Authority. He did increase COVID-19 testing. What else here?
You're nitpicking.
Well, yeah, well, that's because that's what you're gonna do. I'm doing that, making sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Biden forms commission to study changes to Supreme Court. Okay, that's enough. Let's hear it. What is it?
Okay, I will start from the bottom of my list. You can work your way down from your point of view.
Okay.
Because like I said, I started from the bottom and made my list. So this should help you find what I'm talking about. And like I said, you can tell me to stop at any point so that you can look things up if you want. Okay, first one. Require all federal candidates to release tax returns.
Yep.
Increase the federal minimum...
Wait. When did he make that promise? I actually never heard that one.
And yet it's on this website. Are you saying that this website is not factual or credible?
No, I just asked when the claim was made. I'm just curious.
You'd have to ask this website that posted it.
What website is it?
I thought you were on the website. You were literally
you said your own personal... Wait, is this PolitiFact? Is it still here on PolitiFact?
Yes, it's the same one.
Okay, I thought you had your own separate list.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so to reiterate, require all federal candidates to release tax returns.
Okay, let's go find... Wait. Let's find it on here.
Okay.
House passed H.R. 1 would require presidential and VP to share tax returns March 12th, 2021. It says it's in progress.
Can I move on to the next one?
Sure.
Increase the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Okay. So we do know the complications that came up with that, right? He did raise the minimum wage for like federal contractors. Guess what? That's what he had the personal ability to do.
Federal contractors.
Yes. Now,
can I ask you this question? Who has the power currently to pass a bill to give $15 in minimum wage nationwide?
Currently it's the Senate stopping us.
It's the Senate. Who controls the Senate?
50 Democrats. Yeah.
Okay.
So, would you acknowledge that the person stopping that though is not Joe Biden? It would be Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema.
Sure.
Okay.
You want me to move on to the next one?
Sure.
End for-profit detention centers.
Okay.
And the online sale of firearms.
Second. I want to check each of these. So,
Sure.
and for profit. Okay, there's no data on this. And what was the other one? End the sale of online firearms?
Yes.
I don't know if I even agree with that one.
You don't believe that you should end the online sale of firearms?
No, as long as you do proper checks online, I don't see the problem.
How can you do proper checks online?
I think if you provide the proper documentation.
How do you know that those documents aren't?
How do you know if I go in
Forged.
person with documents, they're not forged?
It's a good question.
Okay, so.
Can I move on to the next one?
Sure, yeah. But plus, if you buy it online, don't you still have to pick it up from a dealer? I'm pretty sure.
I don't exactly know. I know that there are some instances where they will actually send it to you in the mail. I'm sure you've heard the news stories about the guns that you can actually construct.
I'm looking online. It says you do have to buy it. After you buy it, you have to pick it up from a dealer.
Not in every case.
Not okay. Which cases are you talking about?
Like I said, the guns that are sent in parts that you can construct at home.
It's in every case. If you buy a firearm, okay. So what you're talking about is something that's different, right? You're talking about like what, like 3D printing a gun?
No, it's not different. No, not 3D printing.
The main
But
parts of
gun-
weapons you still have to go to a dealer for. You buy it online, then you go to a dealer.
Except it's not the same case.
Oh wait, do you mean like a marshmallow gun? Or like a BB gun? Because if that's the case, then
No.
yes. You don't need to go to a dealer.
No, I'm talking about firearms that are sent in pieces.
Where would I go buy one?
Have you ever heard of the dark web?
Well, then that's just people. Okay, so let's just be clear. Joe Biden is not going to end the sale of firearms on the dark web. It's the dark web for a reason. There's no way he can do that unless he like sends the FBI after that. That's totally different than like general gun reg. So no, that's not controlled by just gun regulation. That's the illegal black market.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, if it's already illegal. Yeah, what?
Okay, this is my question to you. Is the dark web online?
Yes.
Can people purchase guns on the dark web?
Yes.
You clearly stated that Joe Biden
my God.
cannot keep people from purchasing guns off of the dark web. So my question to you is, why would he make that promise?
I don't know. I don't agree with it.
Okay. Move on to the next one.
Sure.
Forgive student loan debt.
Does it say how much he promised to forgive, or did he promise to forgive all of it?
Give me a second.
From public colleges and universities. Is it right there?
So no exact amount.
Yeah, but it's specifically saying public colleges and stuff. So not like for private institutions. Right? Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, he has not fulfilled this promise, right?
Right.
They did forgive a tiny amount of it, but they did not forgive all of this. No, he's not fulfilled this promise, and he should. The question of whether he has the legal authority to is something that's hotly debated online. Like if he can do it by executive order or not.
But that just goes back to my original statement. Why make a promise that you can't keep?
Well, the question would be when he promises to do something, right? When a politician says, "I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that," they're broadcasting their intention to go do something, right? They're promising their intention to go do it. I will say that right now he doesn't have the ability to, but I assumed that his promises made, for example, let's say that I as president promised to do something on healthcare. Then I run for office, right? And then my party loses the House and Senate. Now,
Right.
no matter how many promises I made, unless it's something I can do as the commander-in-chief and or by executive order, or I cave a lot to the Republicans and give the majority of power in negotiations, I can't do anything else, right? Therefore,
Right.
my statement would be a lot of the promises that he has tried to keep and hasn't been able to keep has been due to the fact that we have a 50-50 Senate. That's the tiebreaker's Kamala, right?
Right.
So,
But are you familiar with reconciliation?
yes, that has to be done, though, with 50-50. That he has to get every
Right.
single senator on board so the same issue would still apply.
He has to get every Democratic senator on board.
Yes. He has to get every Democratic senator. It's the same thing. Yes. 50-50. That's what I was talking about.
Okay.
But that means if one Democrat falls out of line, screwed.
Why wouldn't all of the Democrats agree on issues like these?
Because not all Democrats are the same. Just like not all Republicans are the same.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Okay.
From the statements,
Like, for example, I just said something about gun control earlier.
Can I finish?
Okay, sure.
From the things that I just read off of my list, do you not agree that Joe Biden and the Democrats should do these things? Promises that were given and yet to be kept?
I don't know about the gun thing.
You think that people should be allowed to purchase guns online?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it depends. Like, of course, I think they should still have to go to a dealer to pick it up. But I'm asking you, like, what does that mean, by the way? If this is one of your examples, you looked into it, right?
How do you mean?
Like, if this is one of his examples of one of the bad things Joe Biden did by not keeping this promise, what does that mean when they say online sale of firearms? Because you started bringing up the dark web, which I don't think that's what Joe Biden was referencing when he made the promise, was the dark web, right?
And yet the dark web is still a thing. But my thing is no, I have not looked into many of these things, because here's the thing. We discussed what we were going to be talking about last night. I've had a very short amount of time.
You've had since last Friday.
And yet, when did we actually establish a cemented topic?
Can I be clear? You've had since last Friday to do research, and I've done zero, because you just wanted to talk to me.
And yet,
now, wait,
can you
let me finish?
Pull up the Discord the Discord message and tell me that I'm wrong.
Do you want me to pull up your Discord? You do not want me to pull up your Discord messages.
What? Just because I talk a lot?
Kinda, yeah.
It was me trying to get you to answer questions about said debate.
Okay. To be clear, what happened was...
Yeah, no, I'm fine with you pulling up the Discord message.
Okay, I'll pull up the Discord messages. So, what happened was last Friday, when I was setting up Hippy Dippy, you started telling me about how both parties suck and, like, all politicians are, like, or, like, most politicians or whatever. You started ranting, right? And I tried to bring you in and your mic didn't work. And so I was like, whatever, dude, we'll just talk next week.
No,
right?
Wait a second. Was my mic not working? Did you never talk to me on the 17th?
Your mic was not working. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You never talked to me?
Maybe I did. I don't recall.
You did. You talked to me on your stream.
How? Oh, yeah. No. The problem was you couldn't hear me after you fixed your mic. And
no,
so,
I
wait. Let me finish. You had to wait for the stream to talk. So what you were doing is you couldn't hear me in Discord. So what you would do is you would wait for the stream. So you would say something, then you would wait for the stream to play, where I responded and listened to the stream. And so it wasn't working because your tech wasn't working.
You said that you needed to get in a debate or a conversation with other people.
Yes, I host a show every Friday.
Your own channel. You can do anything you want.
So, yeah, it cut out and we didn't have time for the show, right? I just didn't have time. And so I say, yo, and I message basically immediately, how about next Tuesday? And then you said next Tuesday works great, 6 p.m. okay. Also, I hold no ill will towards you, sounds good. And for me, it was done. I'm just gonna talk to you next Tuesday, right?
Right.
Because you wanted to talk to me about how both parties suck and are terrible, and basically this like political doomerism that you were expressing in chat, and which you've admitted you did while drunk and intoxicated.
You still haven't given me a chance to point out how the Republican Party is absolutely awful as well.
Dude, we both agree that the Republican Party is awful.
There we go.
Okay, so that's finished. Now, after that, you send a lot of messages.
I do.
And then, after you send a lot of messages, you start...
Yesterday.
Then you decided to... Wait. Then, you you decided to start, I think, did you start posting my DMs or asking to post my DMs in general, chat?
Yeah.
Why? Why did you want to post my message in my general chat? And then you get into like a back and forth with one of my mods about it, and you send me a DM of that.
Did
For
I
some
get
reason, like, again, all I said was, how
malicious?
about next Tuesday, and then sounds good. That's all I said.
Was my conversation with Claudio malicious in any way?
It's not malicious. It's just, I'm just a little perplexed is all. Like, why?
Okay. So my question is, let's see here. The third message that I sent you in the Discord, let me know what you'd like to talk about by Sunday. I have a job, but if you give me a day or two to get some info gathered, I'm Gucci Bubba. Good luck, and I'm happy to hear from you. When did we actually submit what we were going to talk about?
Friday.
Yesterday.
No, we
5:59
didn't.
PM.
No, we didn't. The thing is, Friday I said, I'll talk to you about this next week. And then I sent you a message.
Is that what you said? Well, I'll talk to you about this. Or did you say, how about next Tuesday? Question mark.
Okay,
Next
wait.
Sounds good.
Dude, you're messaging me in my chat about how both parties suck. And I'm like, and we try to talk, but your thing isn't working, and so it doesn't happen, so I just do my normal show. And so I say to you, like, we could just talk about it next week, right? And then I send you a message, how about next Tuesday? Which, you know, that's what's happening right now.
Did you say we can talk about it? Or did you say, how about next Tuesday?
I'm pretty sure it was obvious to everyone when I was talking to you on Friday.
It wasn't obvious to me.
Well, then, I don't know. Maybe you need slightly better social skills.
That's why the third question that I sent you was, let me know what you'd like to talk about by Sunday.
Wow. Zerkas, huh? Sorry. I just I find that a little perplexing. Dude, I think the fact of the matter is you just had much more investment in this than I did. Which also perplexes me since
I really don't.
Well,
I said,
you have no investment.
Gathering,
wait. Can you clarify? Say that one more time for me. Say that you don't have that much investment in this for me.
I don't have much investment in anything other than my family.
Okay. My thing is, I mean, you had all the time to like write all this up, but then it felt like you didn't even like research half of this. Hello? Uh-oh. Lose him? Tap out? Like he tapped out. Well.
Can you not hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you.
Yeah, I didn't tap out, bud.
Okay. So what's it just I mean, you're telling me about like we can get back out of this because this feels uncomfortable, like me going through all your DMs, like just talking about the nuances of DM sending. Like this feels weird, man. Like it's starting to feel like it's almost like bullying.
I don't mind. I really don't mind. I wouldn't send a message directly unless I wanted other people to read it.
Okay. You want to move on, or are you good for today?
Sure. What do you want to move on to?
I don't know. I don't think there's much more to move on to. I think we've talked for about an hour and a half about this.
Yeah, about an hour and a half. I mean, people can decide however they feel. Like I said, I have no stake in this situation. I
I ask you a
appreciate you
question?
having me on. Sure.
Let me ask you a question then. So if you're not affiliated with either party, you do acknowledge that your ability to enact political change just generally is lessened than those within party structures, right?
Just like a majority of the population, whether or not they're affiliated with the Republican or a Democratic party.
Well, the thing is, not being able to participate in party primaries means that your ability to change what a party stands for to be closer to what you want, whether it is by campaigning or voting directly in them, but you're not being able to participate them on many state levels. It get become part of central committees on state levels. Your ability to change the party for the better is lessened. And since third parties are, in my personal opinion, basically useless, you're kneecapping yourself in the amount of political power you can assert in our system.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Which political party do you associate yourself with?
If you cut me, I don't bleed red, I bleed blue. I'm a Democrat.
Okay. What have you done by supporting the Democratic Party? Have you passed any of your ideals? Have you made the world better personally?
Yes.
How?
Well, I changed the city charter in my city to make it easier for local candidates to run in city elections. I was part of the Maryland General Assembly that got a $15 minimum wage through. I've helped the 21st district delegation do a lot. I mean, do you really want to do this?
Sure. Okay, so my next question is, based off of these things that you have done for the Democratic Party, have those people that you have supported went on and done anything great for the nation as a whole?
Well,
or
no,
just your community?
My community, most certainly, but I'm also 20, so yeah. I've only been doing this for so long. I'm 20 years old.
I do applaud you. That's awesome that you're actually like sticking your neck out there and you're trying to do something different in this world. I think that's really awesome. I really do.
Thank you.
And like I said at the beginning of this conversation, I have no ill will towards you.
Okay. I have none towards you. I mean,
Awesome possum. So is this over? Do you want to ask me any more questions? I feel like
Okay.
I've asked the majority of questions tonight.
Okay. You have a good one, okay? I feel like you didn't answer my question.
What question?
Well, it feels like I asked you, like, so is it, so you do acknowledge that you have less, by not participating in party primaries and party politics, you are asserting less political power in our system and are kneecapping your ability to create change?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to, if I got that acknowledgement, then that's fine. That's good enough for me.
Okay, man. Have a good night.
You have a good night. See you later. Danabo, stop sending me these. Well, that was a conversation. Man. I did that for an hour and a half. I can't believe that shit. I actually did it for an hour and a half.